Guys, what's going on? I hope you guys are well. I hope you guys are staying safe. I hope everything's good wherever you are. Hope you guys are keeping safe. Smash the like button on this video, hit the subscribe button, share the video, and yes, let's get into this. Guys, big news. Canelo Alvarez has been offered a deal by Al Haymon to fight Jermall Charlo. We've been hearing this, and it's now been confirmed that Al Haymon and the PBC have offered Canelo Alvarez a big deal, a one-fight deal, which Canelo Alvarez likes, to fight their fighter in Jermall Lions Only Charlo. But there's been a twist in the plot. And that twist in the plot is that Eddie Hearn of Matchroom and DAZN USA have also offered him a deal to fight Jermall Bivol and Gennady Golovkin in a 2-fight deal. I'm pretty sure the money would be huge. What's Canelo Alvarez gonna do? What's Canelo Alvarez going to choose? What's Canelo gonna decide to pick? Who's he gonna fight? Jermall Charlo has been the front runner. What do I think? Do I think he'll pick Jermall Charlo? In my opinion, look, let's weigh it up. He fights Jermall Charlo in a PBC fight, on Fox or Showtime, in a huge pay-per-view fight, which potentially will do over 1 million pay-per-view buys. He can fight, here's the thing about the Matchroom offer. I don't understand it. And I'll tell you why I don't understand it. They're offering him to fight Jermall Bivol next, which I assume would be at 175. But then they're offering him to fight Gennady Golovkin. Now, what weight will that be at? Golovkin fights at 160. He's never fought, I don't believe, above 160. So what weight will that be at? How does that make sense if he's going to fight Bivol at 160, 175, and then fight Golovkin what at catch? Like, it doesn't make sense. See, once you go to 175 and win a title there, that's it. That's it. You know, now you've decided to go to 175. So what's Golovkin going to do? Move up to 175? Like, I don't understand that deal. I don't understand those terms. I don't understand the numbers, because for Canelo, if he's going to move up to 175, then it also becomes a weight issue. So the deal just doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense, because Golovkin's a 160 fighter and Bivol's a 175 fighter. So there's 2 weight classes apart. So I don't understand. I'm a bit confused. I'm a bit confused to what, the deal doesn't really make sense to me, if I'm totally honest with you, because how is Canelo going to fight a 175 fighter next and then fight Bivol? It doesn't add up to me. So for me, I just think that deal for me is a bit, I don't really think that makes sense, if I'm totally honest with you, just because I think if Matchroom are going to do a deal, I think they're going to have to do a 1-fight deal with Bivol. There's no way he's going to fight Bivol and then look to fight Golovkin. It just doesn't make any sense. The Golovkin fight is clearly... Firstly, it's not really a fight that I'm that interested in, if I'm totally honest with you. I'd want it for Golovkin because of the fact that Golovkin, a lot of people seem that he deserves a trilogy because of how close the 2 fights were. But the way I look at it is the deal doesn't make sense. If they offered him Jermall Bivol in a 1-fight deal, I can understand that, because it'd mean that Canelo would have to go up to 175. But the Golovkin fight attached to it doesn't make sense, because what weight's that going to be at? All of those things, the deal doesn't make sense. In my opinion, what is Canelo Alvarez going to choose? This is just my opinion. I don't know what he's going to choose. I just think, looking at it logically, I think he's going to fight Jermall Charlo. And I'll tell you why I think that. Jermall Charlo is a fight that's coming up from 160. He'd be coming up to fight Canelo Alvarez at 168. If Canelo Alvarez decides to take the Bivol fight, right, there's no going back, right? Because he's not going to then come back down in weight. So for me, Canelo Alvarez fighting Jermall Charlo makes a lot of sense, because Jermall Charlo, right, he can fight Jermall Charlo and then go on to fight Bivol. So that he could still do a deal with Matchroom to fight Bivol, but just to fight, you know, Jermall Charlo first, because once he goes to 175, the Jermall Charlo fight's off the table. So at least this way you fight Jermall Charlo, and then you move up to 175, sorry, and then fight Bivol and Beterbiev and look to do your thing there. But I just don't, personally, I just don't think fighting Bivol and fighting Golovkin just doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, I can understand the money that Canelo would get to fight Golovkin again would be huge, so that could be considered. But Canelo's not going to go down back to 160. It doesn't make sense for him. So Golovkin's going to have to come up to at least 168. But why would he fight at 175? It's kind of like, for me, it's not good for Canelo to go to 175 then come back down to 168, because that's what where I had reckoned the fight would have to happen. You know, Golovkin can make 168. It's not an issue. You know, he'd make that in a heartbeat for a Canelo fight. But I just don't think it makes a lot of sense to me. I don't understand, like, why, you know, it doesn't add up to me. You know, it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I think Canelo Alvarez fighting Jermall Charlo makes a lot more sense. It's a one fight deal. It'll do big numbers on pay-per-view. It's a monster fight. It just, to me, it ticks all the boxes. Whereas the Matchroom deal kind of seems a bit confusing. But, you know, a lot of people would want him to take the Matchroom deal because they think Bivol's a much more challenging fight than Jermall Charlo. They think Bivol is a much more taxing and difficult fight, whereas they think Jermall Charlo's easy work. They think Jermall Charlo's he's not top draw. So, from a competitive standpoint, you'd have to say Bivol's a harder fight. But from a numbers point of view, from a logical sense point of view, I think Charlo is the fight that I think Canelo should take, just because of the fact that once he goes up to 175, the Charlo fight's off the table, because Charlo is not going to come to 175 to fight Canelo. You know, I just don't see it. So, in my opinion, I think 168. I think Canelo should fight Jermall Charlo. I think he wins that fight and wins that fight quite conclusively, and then I think he should then go up to light heavyweight and fight your Bivols and Beterbiev, whatever order he wants to. I think he should fight Charlo and Beterbiev. I'd like to see that, but you know, maybe Bivol's a great fight as well. So maybe if, you know, he wants to then work with his own, because sometimes when you're in a position like Canelo, you want to keep everybody happy. You don't just want to stick, because now his last fight was with PBC and Al Heyman. This fight, again, if he takes a Charlo fight, will be PBC and Al Heyman. Then, you know, you want to keep good terms with DAZN. So you go on DAZN and fight Bivol. Then you maybe fight an ESPN fighter, Joe Smith and Beterbiev. So Canelo is kind of getting everything he wants from everybody. He's keeping it cushy with everybody. You know, he's keeping it good relations with everybody. So that makes it easy for him to strike deals. And Canelo strikes me as a guy where he, like, everybody's going to get on with him anyway, because he's a cash cow and everybody wants him on their platform. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of, in my opinion, everyone wants to work with Canelo because of the numbers that he draws. So I think Canelo's not got to worry in that sense. And it seems to me he's got a good relationship with Bob Arum, Eddie Hearn, Al Heyman. It seems like he has a good relationship. And obviously they will have a good relationship with him because he's a money man, isn't he? So everyone's going to want to keep it cool with Canelo because they know what business he can do for them. So yeah, I am interested in who Canelo decides to pick. If it's my honest opinion, I think it's going to be Jermall Charlo. Just because I think that fight's been talked about. I think he's also interested in a Jermall Charlo fight. And like I said, if he doesn't fight Jermall Charlo next, then that fight probably won't ever happen. Just because of the fact that I think Jermall Charlo is not a guy that's going to come to 175 in any time soon. Maybe he might do for a Canelo fight, who knows, but I just don't see it. So I think the fight would make a lot of sense for him to fight, you know, Jermall Charlo next, beat Jermall Charlo, and then move up to 175 and challenge Bivol. The Golovkin fight, if I'm honest with you, I don't know whether he'll ever fight Golovkin again. There may be fights out there where people want more, but again, the Golovkin fight is a huge money fight. So we have to look at it that, will we be tempted to fight Golovkin again? Because it's, you know, Canelo might want to have a trilogy, you know, on his legacy. He might, you know, there's a lot of things that maybe motivate Canelo, and that might be one, to have a trilogy with a great fighter like Gennady Golovkin, which will do great things for his legacy. I know Golovkin now, people think he's past it and he's washed. But the money that fight will generate will be huge, you know. So for me personally, I think the Golovkin fight could still definitely happen, just because of financially it's a massive fight, and a massive Golovkin would always be a massive draw. So yeah, you know, Canelo's got decisions to make. He's got two fights on, two offers on the table. Which one's he going to take? Is he going to go with Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, who he obviously has a very good relationship with, or is he going to take the Al Haymon offer? The Al Haymon offer to me makes a lot more sense. It's a 1-fight deal. It's not a 2-fight deal, because for me, Canelo at this point, I don't think he wants to have a 2-fight deal with anybody. He just wants to have a 1-fight deal. He wants to fight. He wants to fight only once. You know, he doesn't want to have, he doesn't want to have a 2-fight deal with anybody. I think he wants to, because here's the thing, Canelo might beat Charlo, then he may have a change of mind. Like, if he fights Bivol and then has to fight Golovkin, he's kind of tied down. I don't think Canelo wants that offer. I'm pretty sure Matchroom would be willing to kind of, I think Matchroom might be willing to change that. They might offer him a 1-fight deal if that's what he wants. You know, if they come to negotiation and maybe say, no, I just want Bivol, then he might just say that. But it doesn't make sense. You'd offer Golovkin first and then offer Bivol, right? You wouldn't offer Bivol first and then offer Golovkin. It just doesn't make sense. Like, that fight doesn't make sense. Like, why would you offer a guy that's smaller and you know, and then offer a guy that's first, that's bigger? Because surely if Golovkin's going to fight Canelo, that happens at 168, and then Canelo can go up and fight Bivol. You don't offer Bivol 175 pound and then offer Golovkin. It just doesn't add up and make sense, you know. So I don't understand the offer there. I don't understand that at all, because why would you, like I said, it just doesn't make sense to me. That's just my take on it. I don't think it makes sense. Why would you offer a bigger guy and then offer a smaller guy? You know, I don't know. You know, you guys let me know what you guys think about that, because that just seems a bit bizarre. If I'm brutally honest, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't add up. So let's see what happens. I hope that this fight does happen, and I hope it does. The Charlo fight does happen, because it's a fight that I really want to see. It's a fight that I really want, because I think it makes for a great fight. I think it makes for an exciting fight, and I think everybody would want to see it. I just think it'll have a, you know, it'll have a great. I just think the hype around the fight, the fact that Charlo's also a big name, not a big name in selling pay-per-views, by the way. A lot of you were saying, oh, Charlo's a big name in boxing, but he's not necessarily a big name in terms of selling pay-per-views. You know, there's many fighters like that they're big names, but they're not huge selling names. Like, for example, Crawford, he's a big name in boxing, but he isn't able to sell. You know, that's just unfortunately how it is sometimes. And Charlo's probably like that. Charlo's a big name in boxing, but you know, he doesn't sell huge pay-per-view. He doesn't do huge pay-per-view numbers, but that's just the way it is. But that doesn't mean he's not a big name. That doesn't mean if you add his name to Canelo Alvarez that fight's not going to do over 1 million pay-per-view buys, because Canelo didn't do 1 million pay-per-view buys with Plant, but this fight I believe will, because of the fact that Charlo's a bigger name, and I think a lot more people are going to be willing to buy it. So I definitely think it's a fight which makes a lot more sense than some of the other fights that are being mentioned, just because of the fact that if he doesn't fight Jermall Charlo now and he takes the Matchroom offer, then the Charlo fight for me is done. I don't think that's going to happen. And Charlo might not even move up to 168 then. Charlo might not even move up to 168. If he doesn't get the Canelo fight, he's probably not going to move up to 168. And what's to say that Charlo wouldn't just move up for Canelo and then go back down to 160? You know, there's no guarantee. You know, we don't know if he's going to actually stay at that weight, you know. So yeah, let's see, man. Let's see what happens. But yeah, great news. Al Haymon offers Canelo Alvarez. Leave your thoughts. Which deal do you think he should take? Let me know what you think in the comment section below, guys. And guys, remember to please like, share, subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.